Hello there, welcome to my world of stuff. I'm out and about today, it's Sunday afternoon, and I'm heading off to the local multiplex to see Frank Herbert's Dune, or should I say Dennis Villeneuve's Dune. Yeah, it's a bit of a miserable grey day, as you can probably see in the background, so it'll be quite nice to... Yep. We do have a lot of traffic around here. Yeah, it'd be quite nice to spend a couple of hours in the cinema with a nice big coffee, watching what I hope is going to be an interesting and intriguing piece of fairly hard science fiction. I'm not a big fan of, big hard sci-fi stuff, but I am hoping. I've read the reviews, I've seen some reviews, no spoilers, but this sounds like it's a big spectacle, so I'm seeing it on the X Plus screen in my local showcase, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you at the cinema. Hello, right, I'm now in the car on my way to the cinema, or will be shortly. As I was saying earlier on, walking up the road when it was very noisy. I'm looking forward to Dune. I don't know a lot about the story, I've never read the book. I'm not a big fan of those big cosmic, hard science fiction stories. I like my science fiction a bit more relatable, so I always find it difficult to engage with stories that are set in other universes and other galaxies with people who are clearly human but not human beings. However, I'm going to see this for the spectacle. I've got an open mind, and I'm hoping to have an out of this world experience. I'm going to grab some grub on the way, and I will see you again when I get to the cinema. Right, I think that's enough footage of the A470. I've arrived at my destination. I'm at the Showcase Cinema, so let's get duned up. Okay, I'm at the Showcase Cinema in Ngangaru. Luckily, the cinema has a Costa outlet, so I should be getting myself the largest possible coffee I can get for this 2.5-hour film experience. Hello, well, I'm back in the car from my Dune experience. I'll just give a sort of an overview of the film, my brief review of it. Wow, I mean, the thing that kept going through my mind as I was watching it was, this is Star Wars for adults. Because the story, basically, it's a sort of story about conflict and battle and the battle for possession over something, dominion over something, which I suppose is at its core is what Star Wars is about. It's a war, and this has similar sort of themes. But Star Wars doesn't have Star Wars has the kid appeal that this doesn't have. There's no cute aliens or eccentric robots in this. It's purely a story about people and the quest for power over something very, very powerful and very important. I just thought it was visually absolutely breathtaking. I mean, the story, from what I can gather, and I think I got the gist of it, is that basically it's the battle on the planet Arrakis, which is known as Dune, for control over the resource called spice or melange. I don't know if it's called melange in the film, but it certainly was from what I recall reading about the book. It's spice, which sort of invigorates human vitality and is important for interstellar and space travel. The planet was formerly occupied by Baron Harkonnen and his forces. They surrendered the planet, and it now belongs to forces who are commanded by the Atreides family. But through various machinations, Baron Harkonnen wants the planet back because he's aware of how powerful it is. And it's basically a battle between these two forces to try and regain control of this planet. The lead character is Paul Atreides, who is the son of Jessica Atreides, who has strange sort of mental psychic abilities. He is the natural sort of successor to the Atreides line, and then effectively Arrakis itself and the source of the spice. And it's a sort of, I hate to say it, but it's sort of like a coming-of-age story for him. I think in the book he's supposed to be 15. Timothy Chalamet's clearly in his 20s, but he looks younger. So he carries off the part of this young ingenue, if you like, who's put in this extraordinary position and has extraordinary things to do. There's a lot in this film. There's so much to unpack in terms of the story, the themes, the plots, contrivances. And I'll be thinking about it for a while, and I will certainly see it again, because I think it's a film where there is so much going on and so much intricate detail that you need to see it more than once if you're going to sort of properly absorb it all, and if you properly want to absorb it all. Because I know a lot of people have seen it and just didn't like it, and I can understand that. Because it's quite a cold film. There's not a lot, i.e. none, I don't think. No humour, really. It's very, I suppose it's po-faced. Because it's hard science fiction, and that's not something that I've ever really explored. I like my science fiction a bit lighter on its feet and a bit more human. But this is about human beings. I mean, they're called humans all the way through it, so I think we're far in the future. But I think I just like my science fiction when it's more relatable, with relatable modern people put in extraordinary situations. Having said that, I thought it was visually absolutely breathtaking. I mean, Dennis Villeneuve has directed, of course, and it just looks it's hard to find the words to see how cinematic it is and how huge it is, and the scope and scale and the visuals. A lot of it is in long shots, so you get a real sense of scale of this planet and the architecture and the hardware, the massive tower block-like spaceships. And even though we know it's filmed, I don't know, Morocco, somewhere deserty, it actually felt like an alien planet. You watch a lot of science fiction, you think, oh, it's filmed in a quarry, or it's filmed in a desert, or it's filmed in a forest. But this genuinely looked alien, whether that's just the cinematography or the visual trickery. But I watched this film all the way through, and I was just thinking, I'm on an alien planet. This is a completely alien place. It's hard to know where to start really talking about it. So much to dazzle. The sandworms, which are, of course, one of the film's, the story's great selling points, are terrific. There's a real sense of threat and menace, and we don't see them until close to the end of the film properly, and then you get the sense of scale of these massive things that are just burrowing through the sand rather. It's just mind-blowing in the scale of it. I mean, I love the design of some of the spaceships and the hardware, particularly these little sort of shuttle craft that they fly around in, which are like helicopters, but with the four rotor blades on the outside, so they spin, and they're like giant insects. I thought that was a beautiful, really clever design. And there's plenty of action. I mean, I will say it takes good 40 minutes to start moving. So you have to be patient with it, because we're in a totally alien environment with, totally unrelatable characters, if you like, in this situation on this planet. But it takes a while to sort of get the rhythm of it. I think the first 40 minutes, you've got to pay attention to get a foothold in the story. And I don't say that even now I didn't follow every little intricacy of the plot and the relationships, but the through line of the story is quite easy to follow. And once that really kicks in, once it starts becoming more about the conflict, you really get involved. And there are some terrific, spectacular action sequences and fight sequences and battle sequences. The stuff of popular science fiction placed very firmly in hard science fiction. And I think that's a hard thing to pull off. But I think this film does it very well. I found Blade Runner 2049, for example, which was Denis Villeneuve's last film, tough to come to terms with, mainly because I'm not a fan of that particular franchise or series. And I was a bit concerned that aesthetic would follow through into this film. It does, to the extent that it's not a barrel of laughs, but I felt that it was more approachable and more, not relatable, that's not the word. I just found it more, I was able to immerse myself in this. I was more interested in the story and the characters and where it was all going. Jason Momoa is there as this sort of royal guard, if you like, Duncan, who plays the part that Jason Momoa plays in Aquaman, plays the part that he plays in Justice League, obviously, and See the TV series. That's the sort of role he's going to play. I can't see him ever doing a rom-com, because he's this big warrior type bloke, and he's brilliant. He's just great at that sort of role. Rebecca Ferguson is terrific as Paul's mother. And what's interesting, there are moments of horror, actually. There's some really creepy things in it. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen, who's this huge, bald creature who sort of rises up and floats. It's quite eerie, and the way it's filmed is very, very strikingly aims for that sort of horror vibe. And I think certain scenes with the sandworms have a certain horror element to them too. As I said, a lot to unpack, a lot to think about, and a lot to sort of comment on. Hans Zimmer score, I must mention that before I go. Beautiful. I mean, it's not intrusive, but it's there all the way through the film, and it weaves in and out of the action. There's some lovely little motifs. Just really underpins the film well, and sort of adds to the sort of the gravitas of it, if you like. I really enjoyed it. I absolutely was enraptured by it. I wouldn't say I loved it. It's a hard film to love. It's an easy film to admire and go, wow, that's incredible. And I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't get bored, and I didn't really get lost in the story. But I think it's a hard film to sort of embrace as something you feel passionate about. I think it's, whether it's because I haven't read the book and I don't really know anything about the source material, so I was coming to it cold, and I just thought it was a terrific piece of entertainment, brilliantly made. And I think Denis Villeneuve has done what everybody said is impossible, and he's brought Dune to the screen. I really hope he gets the chance to do the second part, because it ends on a massive, not exactly a cliffhanger, but it's sort of now it begins sort of thing, and that's what it means. And I really, really want to see part two. I understand that part two is pretty much a given, but it's not been announced yet. I'm hoping it does get announced soon, because I want to see this film sooner rather than later. But as I said, not a film I would walk away and go, my God, I absolutely love that. But I really enjoyed it and I appreciate it and I embraced it. And on that basis alone, I'm going to give it, and I don't give 0.5s very often, but I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I will see this again, whether I watch it back in the cinema, which I think you need to see it in. And I was lucky to see it on the X Plus screen with an extraordinary sound system and a big screen and a very well-behaved audience. I would say the cinema was about half full, which is the first time since during the pandemic period that the cinema's been that full. And it was a good audience, a quiet audience. You know, they were really engrossed in the film, and it is engrossing. But as I said, it's not a film that you would say, oh my God, I absolutely love that. It's a film to admire and enjoy the artistry of it. And I thought it was highly recommended. And if you're thinking about seeing it, but thinking, oh, I don't know, go and see it, because I think you'll have a good time with it. That's Dune. That's my thoughts on Dune. Yeah, let me know what you thought of it. I'd be very interested to hear what... Oh, hang on. The car lights have gone out. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys thought of it. And I'm going to go now because I can't get the lights in the car back on. Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of Dune. And until next time, keep taking the stuff in the dark. Boom!